Hello viewers, my name is Efehi Idubo, Counsel with Essential Legal Services, and today I will be talking about corporate restructuring, types of corporate restructuring and the benefits thereof. In today's constantly evolving and highly competitive global commercial landscape, a company that wants to stay relevant, wants to stay in business, wants to stay competitive, must be ready to adapt and to effect changes that will ensure that it stays in business and that the business remains viable. Now, the process of effecting these changes or making these relevant changes to keep the company alive is the process of corporate restructuring. With regard to corporate restructuring, there are two types of restructuring. You have internal restructuring and external restructuring. Now, internal restructuring is usually employed when a company has a large debt profile and would like to reshuffle its business to make sure it remains viable without the involvement of a third party. Now, internal restructuring is divided into a number of subdivisions, which include arrangement on compromise, arrangement on sale, and a buyout. Now, an arrangement on compromise is defined by an agreement by a company with its members, creditors, debenture holders, and shareholders to vary the rights of these members of the company and asking them to accept less than they would normally be entitled to in order to free up funds or capital for the company to run its business without going under. Now, arrangement on sale is a procedure whereby the company is wound up and a liquidator is appointed to dispose of the company's assets to another corporate body. Now, this could be sold in exchange for shares or debentures or cash. But in this situation, the company is usually wound up and then sold to another corporate body who will then take over the assets of the company. And this works in the company's favor. And lastly, under internal restructuring, you have the buyout. Now, this could either be a management buyout or an employee buyout. Now, in a management buyout, usually directors and the high-level officials of the company, come together to buy out the assets of the company or buy out a controlling share or controlling shares in the company that puts them in effective control of the operations of the company. And on the other hand, you could have an employee buyout that is characterized by employees coming together to buy out the assets of the company or a controlling share in the company so that the company now has funds to run itself effectively. Moving on to external restructuring, it is subdivided into four types: mergers and acquisitions, takeovers, purchase and assumption, and cherry picking. Now, generally, a merger is a situation where one company joins itself with another company and then becomes a new entity altogether, a joint entity of both companies. This is one restructuring measure that is different from acquisitions, where one company takes over another company with that company's consent, and then the other company or the target company is assimilated into the acquiring company. Takeovers are different from acquisitions in the sense that one company still takes over another one, but the other company is usually not a consenting party, and the company taking over the target company will have bought or will now have control of the majority of shares in the target company that gives it essential control over its operations. Moving on to a purchase and assumption. Talking about purchase and assumption, this is a situation where one company assumes the liabilities of another company and takes control of its assets. This is usually done where the target company is not wound up per se, but its assets are simply sold to the purchasing company and are assumed by it. And lastly, we have cherry picking, where one corporate entity looks at the books of a target company and then picks what liabilities or what assets it wants to assume and runs those parts of the target company's business as part of its own. There are various benefits of company restructuring done right, among which are a reduction of the cost of running a business, an injection of new talent into a business, the increase of the competitive advantage of a restructured company, and then the use of science or technology that were probably not available to the company before the restructuring was done, among others. For more questions or inquiries into company restructuring, please hit up the help desk and we will be available to provide any information that you might require on the subject.